Hello and welcome to the Child Care Business Coach Podcast. My name is Evelyn Knight, and today we're talking about stress. Stress. How many of you are in a season of absolute overwhelm? Everything just feels so big and so heavy. How stressed are you? I know I woke up this morning just a little bit overwhelmed, not going to lie. It just pretty overwhelmed. And when I stopped to ask myself, what is going on with me? Normally, I'm very calm and collected. I know what's going on. It's a little crazy right now. I'm opening a new program that I didn't expect. Things were just kind of fell into my lap. So I'm opening a new childcare program. I am running this company, Childcare Business Professionals, that helps hundreds of owners throughout the country find success. I'm actually currently right now, I'm in my office at my childcare center, and it's a lot right now. I have an amazing retreat coming up that I'm hosting for entrepreneurial business owners. So there is a lot happening right now, and the stress is real. So this morning, as I woke up and in my mind, I'm going through mentally, oh gosh, all the things I need to do and how am I going to fit in this week and what are we going to do? I really had to step back and ask myself, okay, if you were one of your clients, how would you help them deal with this stress? How would you help them to manage all that has to be done right now? Because can it be done? Absolutely. I've been through harder and I've been through worse. Doesn't mean that it doesn't make this hard, right? I want you, each of you, um, sometimes we go into this comparison mode, right? And we're stressed out and we start saying things to ourselves like, yeah, but so for me, right now, I'm in a season and I sometimes tell myself that, but I've been through worse, right? So basically, I'm not always kind in my self talk. And I will tell myself, okay, you've been through worse, suck it up, deal with it. But is that really helpful? No. Comparison is never going to help you when you're in a stressful season. Instead, looking for solutions is what we really need to focus on. And what I really want everyone to hear and understand today, and I want what you to think about is where do you want to go in your life? What do you want to accomplish? And whatever you decide, it is okay. If you're happy being a director and you never want more, that's fine. That is fine. What makes you happy and where you're supposed to be is the most important thing, right? For me, I know I need to scale and I need to grow. I have a lot of aspirations and I have a lot of ambitions. So I really have to look at what I'm facing and what that's going to take to accomplish what I want. And so as I'm looking at where I am in my life right now, I have to ask myself, am I ready for what's next? Right? I know I want what's next, and you probably know you what you want as well. But there's a price to that. Are you willing to pay it? There is a price to success. I'm about to open my fourth company that I'll currently own and the fifth childcare program that I'll be launching and starting. And so right now, the thought just keeps going through my head. Oh my gosh, I'm going to own four businesses right now. What am I going to do? How am I going to run it? Well, how am I'm the CEO of each one of them. How am I going to handle owning and being the CEO of four companies? And so, first of all, how do I deal with the stress of it? First and foremost, how do I deal with the stress? Right? Because as you grow and as you have aspirations for more for your life, it's important for you to know that more comes with bigger stress. I remember when I was first going into business, it's funny, I found a journal of mine. And for those of you who've known me for a while, you know I create these 10-year plans all the time and I create these goals. Well, they weren't always 10-year plans. They used to be just like, this is what I want out of life. And I would write it down. So I found an old journal. And so funny, one of the things I wrote in this old journal was I want to make $100,000 a year for me, just me by myself, not my husband making, just me. And it's crazy where I've come, how far I've come, and where I'm going, right? Because Then it became a million. And when I hit my first million, now it's 10 million. So when I was going for that 100,000, I thought so many of my problems would be solved. I'm going to have this money. Do you guys remember when you're young? Like I have boys that are 20 and 25, and $100,000 like in your pocket sounds like so much money, doesn't it? And then you get there and suddenly it's not. Well, to many of you, $1 million sounds like so much money. And if I just get to $1 million, all my problems will be solved. It's not how it works. It isn't. The more you scale and grow, the bigger the problems. When I'm coaching brand new owners who are trying to open a center, one of the biggest things I try and focus on is helping them to see and really keep into perspective what problems look like. A problem is just a problem, whether it's a 200 or a $200,000 problem, it's still the same, right? It's how we choose to look at it. And I know I say that and you're like, "Are you crazy, lady? I'm sorry, but 200,000 is way different than 200." But it's not. It's really your perspective and how you're approaching these problems. It's how, I'm going to say something hard right now. It is how you choose to see the problem. And I can tell you the way you choose to control your thoughts and to control your brain is going to spill over whether you're making 100,000 a year, a million a year, or 10 million a year. Because when you start making a million a year, your $200 problems, your $2,000 problems, your $20,000 problems suddenly become $200,000 problems, right? So you have to have the fortitude to get through this. You have to have the fortitude because the problems get bigger. They don't go away. It's life. In life, problems are just there, right? It's how we choose to interpret them and to see them. And do we choose to look at it as a problem or a challenge? That's really what it comes down to. I honestly don't know how I'm going to find the time, but I will. I know I will. And it'll just happen. And this is where I trust the flow. I'm a God girl, and God is calling me to a new venture, and I have to go where God takes me. And I know that if I just go with the flow and walk through the doors that open for me, everything's just going to fall into place. I can't allow the stress and the worry that does plague my brain stop me from my momentum. Because if I allowed the stress, the fear, and the worry, I'm not going to achieve my goals. I'm not going to get to where I know I can be. So I want you, and I really challenge you to ask yourself, where do I really want to go in life? And do I have the fortitude? Every single one of you can gain the fortitude, 100%. But that is a decision. That is a decision. I don't think there's a person on this planet who, if I said, I'm going to give you $1 million, not very many of you would say no. We all want it. But do we have what it takes to get there? It is a choice. It really, truly is. And the bigger and the more success, the more the problems and the bigger the problems. So, how do I deal with it? I really have to take my problems with a grain of salt and I have to look at them as challenges. One of the biggest things that I do is I realize that everything I'm facing today is temporary. None of it is going to be here permanently. So, why am I going to let it affect me? Why am I going to let it control how I feel, how I think, and how I act? I'm opening a new business, yes. I'm about to have 4 active companies, and it does concern me and it does worry me. But as those thoughts start to run wild in my brain, I'm going to check them and I'm going to ask myself, is this really worth my stress? Is it really worth my energy? Because honestly, in a year, this new company I'm starting, the new childcare program I'm starting, it'll be up and running. It'll be flowing. Childcare business professionals will be flowing just fine. All of it is going to be just fine. So even though right now, this is a season, The season is temporary. It is just temporary, like every other season of my life. And the same goes for you. We put so much energy and stock into what's happening around us today. And I really want you to think about the little things, right? Like a staff member calls in and we're like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? A year from now, are you even going to remember? 2 years from now, does it matter? 10 years from now, are you even going to remember on this day at this time you were short staffed? Probably not. So why allow it? And I'm going to say that again. I really want you to hear this. Why do you allow these little stressors that aren't even going to matter next month, next year, 2 years from now? Why do you allow them to take so much real estate in your brain? It is a choice. And that's how I keep going. I know that everything I'm facing right now is just temporary. This too shall pass, right? And yes, I need to be present in the moment and deal with the situations, but that's all it is. I am not going to allow them to control my thoughts, my actions. And yes, I do get very stressed out. I'm not going to say I don't, but I also check myself. And I also put it out there to the world like I am right now. I will tell my team, "Hey, call me out. Call me out when I start going into that doom and gloom," and which I do. I absolutely do. So I have people around me to keep me in check, right? To remind me, "Hey, it's not that bad, Evelyn. It really isn't." And also, I have people around me to help me. That's the biggest thing. I couldn't do this alone. There is no way I could do this alone. So how do I do it? I have a person in each company that's my right hand. I can oversee everything. I'm almost like the umbrella and everything flows underneath me. Now, in the beginning, it's kind of difficult. And every now and then we do have to step in and take charge again. And that's okay too. But every season is a passing season. So don't allow the stressors to overcome you. Just know it is temporary. When I was young, I had somewhat of, I had a pretty rough, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I had a rough childhood. And so when I was a little child, I used to tell myself all the time, in 2 weeks, this won't even matter anymore. It'll be over. And if I was in the middle of something, I would just tell myself in 20 minutes, it'll be over. And it'll be over in 20 minutes. Or in 2 days, it won't matter anymore. Or in 2 weeks. And then I got older and the problems got bigger. And I would start telling myself in 2 years or 2 months, this doesn't even matter. 2 months, it doesn't matter. So then as you get bigger, it takes longer, right? In 2 years, it's not even going to matter. And now I'm at the point in my life where I do say in 10 years, it's not going to matter. So why allow it to cause you so much stress that you're allowing it to affect your daily life, your health, how you treat others, right? And I also want you to know that sometimes we create our own stressors. We worry so much about something that hasn't even happened that we worry ourselves into a frenzy over nothing. So really ask yourself, is this worth my time and energy? Because the more you scale and grow, the more you climb the ladder of life and get more and more success, the more energy you need. The more energy you need to pour into your people, your projects, whatever it is. And if you allow these little things to steal your energy, you're not going to make it. You're not going to have the fortitude. So, what I would recommend and what I do for myself is really just list everything and take the emotion out of it. Get a piece of paper. Every situation is neutral. We assign emotions to a situation. I can have 3 staff members call in this morning, right? Now, I decide if it's a bad thing or a good thing. My emotions dictate whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's not necessarily either. It is my emotions that dictate that. So look at every situation as just a situation. Yeah, they called in again. Yeah, they didn't do this or that. It's just a situation. Do not assign your emotions, and you will automatically. So check yourself, check your thoughts. I check my thoughts all day, every day. Ask myself, okay, what am I thinking? Where is this coming from? Why am I allowing this to make me upset? Why am I giving these emotions to this little problem that shouldn't be taking real estate up in my mind? I only have so much real estate in my mind. And I can tell you right now, for the level of success I'm at and I want to be at, I realize and know I can't allow little things to get to me. There's no way I would survive if I did. The other thing is I really have to be careful how I manage my time. This morning when I woke up, I didn't really want to get up as early as I did, but I know I have to take care of my body. One of the first thoughts that went through my mind when I was telling myself, "Oh, I just want to sleep another half an hour," was, "No, you can't." Because if you're going to have the energy to do all the things you need to do right now, hosting a retreat, opening a new business, if you are going to be able to sustain that kind of energy, you've got to take care of your body. So I got up and went out for a run. And so every morning I prioritize my body, my health and fitness and nutrition. Because if I'm going to sustain this, I have to take care of me. I have to take care of me. So watch what you're doing with your time. Make sure you give yourself that time to take care of you. And watch your calendar. Really organize your calendar. I love doing brain dumps of all the things that I need to get done. And I break them into my necessity, needs, and nice columns. If it's a necessity item, they go on the calendar first. The items that need to be done, I try to see if I can get help with it. I'll start delegating them off my calendar or scheduling them for a different date. And then the nice, sometimes those nice things have to go. I don't always have time for them. But when you do a brain dump, get everything that you've got to get done, put it on paper. I like to use Post-its. I've got my Post-its right here because I'm getting ready to do a brain dump right here, whole big Post-it note packet. And I'll put every single thing down. And right now I'll probably put it on the wall here. And then I put them into 3 categories. And so I can move the Post-its around on my necessity, needs, and nice. So I'll literally just move them around. This is not, and then I'll start throwing some away because a lot of the things we think we need to do are perceived, right? They're really not necessities. We just think we have to do them. I'll also see what can I delegate. So I'll have my necessity, needs, and nice, and even some of the necessities. So then after I figure that out, I'll look at a delegation, right? And I'll put different people's names that I can delegate to. And I'll take these Post-its and start moving them to the people's names. So, for example, this morning I have to go talk to the city to get apply for my new city business license. So I have to do that. That's going to be a necessity. It's got to stay on mine. Now I also had a very sick cat this morning. Right now, that's a necessity. My cat needs to go to the vet. He's very, very sick, but I was able to delegate that to somebody else. So even though it's a necessity and it is in my necessity column, I move that to somebody else's because I don't have to be the one to do that. And it's still being taken care of. So really watch your time. Now, once those necessity items are on my board that I know I cannot give these things away, I have to be the one to do these things, they go in my calendar. They then have to go in my calendar. And yeah, my calendar is jam-packed right now. It is. I'm literally about to host an event in Napa, which, by the way, you're welcome to come to it. I would love to see more of you there. I am running my childcare center and I'm about to open a new business. So my calendar's packed. And I don't think I would be able to maintain my sanity without having my necessity, needs, and nice in my calendar straightened out. And if I didn't check my thoughts, because I can very, very easily go down the rabbit hole of, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And I do. I'm not going to lie, I do. But I check it and I rein myself back in. I do not let my thoughts run wild. So I hope this was helpful to somebody. I would love to hear in the comments if this resonated with you, if you're feeling that right now. I lately my comments have not been coming through. I noticed. So good morning again, and thank you guys so much. And again, it is not too late to get your tickets to the Visionary Circle retreat. We are meeting in Napa, California, November 13th, 14th, and 15th. And this is just for visionary leaders, people who are entrepreneurs at heart. And I am so sorry the phone is going off in the background. I am at my childcare center today. But if you know you're meant for more, you know you're not just a small business owner and you are so much more than just a small business owner, then the Visionary Circle Retreat is probably for you. It is probably where you need to be. I have gathered a group of visionary people in the early childhood field, and we're getting people who aren't even just childcare center owners. We're getting just behavior specialists and all sorts of people. But this is, you just know there is so much more out there, and you want to build more. It's not just about building wealth, that's a big part of it. It's more about creation. You are a creator. And when you're in that space of creating something new, that is where you shine and come alive. I know that's me. And for the longest time, I felt really lonely and I felt odd and out of place because so many people didn't understand me. And I so often heard, "What's wrong with you? Why can't you just be satisfied?" Now I realize there's nothing wrong with me. There isn't. It's just who I am. And there's a whole lot of us out there. So if that resonates with you, don't miss this retreat because you are not alone. You're not alone either. There are a lot of us like you out there, and we get together 3 times a year for our Visionary Circle retreats. And this is the time where we will pour into you and allow you to be who you truly are, and you don't need to fit into someone else's box. So if that sounds amazing, send me a message so I can get you more information. Thank you so much for joining me again today. Have a great rest of your day.